Hello photography students. I'm going to do as concise a video as I can about assessment criteria because I think it's really important that you guys understand the difference between first year and second year. So what I've actually done is I've updated the sheets that we've already annotated. I'm confident you know what your assessment criteria stand for, so what you're being assessed about in each one and how that divides up into your project. But what I want you to notice is the sort of wording of what we're marking you against, and that there's a jump between first year and second year. So here, what I've said is that it basically jumps from using words like good to sophisticated. So I want to just give you some insight now while you're starting, while you're working on things, as to how you can attain really good grades in the second year, not just the first. So as teachers, we get these grids to mark your work from, and there's 3 grids for the whole of the course basically. So there's a mark scheme that belongs to first year. There's a mark scheme that belongs to your personal investigation. That's what we're doing now. That's the current project that you're working on. And the last one is for your externally set assignment. So the externally set one comes in February. The exam board set questions, and a portion of it you do under exam conditions, much like if you did a creative subject at GCSE, the same kind of process as you would have done there. So what I want to look at is some of the wording in the higher criteria, because you guys want to aim high, you want to do really good. So let's take AO1 as an example, so you guys know that's for your research. These are the highest marks that we can give you, so a max of 25 per assessment criteria. And they use words here like thorough development of ideas through sustained and focused investigations, rigorous critical analysis and evaluation of relevant contextual and other sources, comprehensive responses and interpretations, informed by a good understanding of purposes, meanings and contexts. So that's my decision to make. If I think that you've done things in a really thorough way, if I can find evidence that you've got rigorous critical analysis of artist research. So all of the evidence that I'm using should be in your sketchbook. As you move down, so this is like A grade, you move down into reasonable. And I think that that's pretty good because they're taking into consideration that you're in first year, you're learning, it's a big learning curve. So reasonable development of ideas, reasonable critical analysis. And then as it goes down, it becomes lesser. Some development, limited development. So you guys can see which bands are which and the kind of differentiation there. So moving into your more practical one, it says things like good evidence of selecting appropriate resources, media, processes, confident exploration of materials, skillful control of techniques to exploit their creative potential, significant relationships established between working methods and outcomes, and then as you move through, it's lesser again, so reasonable evidence, reasonable exploration. And then it doesn't say significant relationships, just that relationships have been established. And then below, some evidence of selecting, some exploration. So you get the idea following through there. And in that top band, you kind of understood some of those things. And then some common words appear. Good appears quite a lot. Rigorous appears quite a lot. Significant appears quite a lot. So that's a comprehensive person, a really good A grade student is in this top band up here for first year. So remember those words, and then if we jump down here, this is for the project that you're working on now. So you'll see straight away they've added in more to that top band, sophisticated and thorough, instead of just thorough. Here, not just good evidence, but sophisticated evidence. Not just rigorous, but rigorous and confident. Not just good again, but sophisticated. Not just rigorous, but perceptive and rigorous and effective. Highly imaginative. So you can see that they want more from you in second year. I realise that that's super complicated, but look here, this band that's your B band is the same as the A band from last year. So there's your thorough. There's your good. There's your good. creative or imaginative. So you can see what would have been an A in first year is actually more of a B grade in second year. See, what I'm getting at is you've really got to push in second year, and everything that you're doing now is showing development because you're better at it because you're in second year. So I've pulled out some of the more complicated words and I've put that assessment criteria so you can read it, but I'm well aware that it's super confusing. That's why it's for us and not for you guys. So basically, this perfect A grade student is working in a sophisticated way. So that means that they've developed things to a high degree of complexity. They're perceptive in their research, so they're very good at noticing and understanding things. And that means that they've looked through all of our prompt sheets like Oreo analysis and things like that, and they've pulled lots of information together. And I can find that because their work is really thorough as well. This idea of something being coherent is that it's logical and consistent. And you do that through the steps of your sketchbook. So your first sets are connected to artists. Development sets actually push on. Then the sets after that have a sub-theme. You don't just do loads of random sets that come from nowhere. You show progression of ideas and you show links to artists so that it's logical and consistent. Now, rigorous, I don't know if it's a word you've come across before or not, but it basically means extremely thorough and careful. So not just thorough, extremely thorough. And I'll come back to that point in a second. But basically, rigorous is like the word meticulous. So somebody who meticulously works through things in an exhaustive way. They cover all bases. And comprehensive. So that means including or dealing with all or nearly all elements or aspects of something. So basically, have you ever heard the phrase covering all bases? There's not anything that you could have tried in your evaluations. You would have said, oh, it would have been better if I'd had a go at this, or if I'd done that. If you don't follow up on those things, there's points there where you could have made something better, but you didn't follow it up. So as your sets progress, showing that you're taking on your own advice, your own reflection, and putting it into practice as well. So we've also talked about here the idea of something being extensive. So if I was a student, I would be like, oh my God, Erin, you've just told me like 100 words that I don't even have a clue about. Now, basically, I'm showing you that so that you know that's what I make the decision on. The most useful thing for you guys is to hold on to this idea of something being extremely thorough. So everything that you do for me, make sure that you do it in an extremely thorough way. So I'll give you a quick example now. If I open up the last PowerPoint that I've sent you, I've asked you to do your little quarantine project. I've asked you to do some research. So straight away, AO1, Erin wants me to be extremely thorough. So from that, I don't want just like 5 pins, like a half-hearted effort. I want lots and lots of pins there so I can see you've really given it a good go. I want you to have used all of these search themes and you've come up with lots of ideas, you've gone into articles, you've snipped things out, you've made it really personal. Same for your mind map. I don't want just a little half-hearted effort where you've got like an idea for each branch. I want other things coming off it because you're being extremely thorough. You've got lots of ideas, there's lots of offshoots, there's lots of things going on there. You haven't just done it to a really basic level. Remember, is it going to be extremely thorough or is it going to be down there like reasonable? Which student do you want to be? Also here in your practical work, doing your 6 different ideas, make sure that you give it a really good go so that you're showing that your work can have that kind of sophisticated level, that you've not just made like a half-hearted effort and you've done something that's reasonable. So this is the idea that I'm getting at. All you have to do is follow the resources that your tutors give you, but you attack it in a really thorough way, extremely thorough way. So every time you start something, in your mind, say to yourself, how can I prove that this is really thorough? So I'm looking for a mind map that fills a page, that's got loads of information on there. I'm looking for research that answers every question from the Oreo research sheet really thoroughly. Not that you've just gone, oh, well, I've done some of them and I've done some bullet points and yeah, I've done my next steps, but I'm not going to compare. You have to do every step, not just do it, but do it in an extremely thorough way. So I hope from this video, if anything, I've instilled in you guys this idea of attacking everything in an extremely thorough way. Everything that you're set, if you listen to your tutors, you respond to the feedback on your blue ILPs at the front of your sketchbook, and that you do everything in an extremely thorough way, you will be up here in this red band. You don't have to worry about all of that complicated wording. That's for us. But all of these words basically have that theme running through, that everything's extremely thorough. Nothing's been left out because you've been a dutiful student and you've extremely carefully and extremely thoroughly done everything that we've asked you. And that is the best way to achieve highly in the second year of the course. Hold that in your minds now, because we are still doing it even though you're working remotely. So make sure you follow my guide, but make sure that you can prove that yours is extremely thorough.